As we mentioned at the top of the newscast, South Kingstown is getting battered by this storm.
Just take a look at these waves, inches closer and closer to the shoreline. Eyewitness News reporter Walt Buteau has been there. He joins us live on the phone from the South County Mobile Newsroom. Walt.
Well, first of all, I just wanted to clarify. I know that there was a report that the Ocean Mist was destroyed. I just got off the phone, or actually my photographer John Bellella is on the phone with the owner who's in the restaurant. The reports of the demise of the Ocean Mist have been exaggerated. It was not destroyed. There's a broken window, structurally sound. He says a broken window, piece of plywood on the floor. So the Ocean Mist, let's just clarify, was not destroyed. Damage, I would say, is not even heavy, and that's directly from the owner who's there. I will tell you, though, the same guy, Kevin Finnegan, did see the house that got knocked off its foundation on Carpenter's Beach. As Rhode Islanders know, the word foundation on Carpenter's Beach is somewhat of an exaggeration. Many of them are on cinder blocks, and they're not. It's still obviously a sad story for whoever owns the house, but a lot of those houses are not the greatest structures in the world. Many on cinder blocks. We're not sure about this particular one. We can tell you, though, Cards Pond Road is where that happened. And for Rhode Islanders, you might know Cards Pond Road because that's where the Theater by the Sea is. And it happened somewhat near Theater by the Sea and Carpenter's Beach, which again is a place with small structures that are sometimes sitting right on cinder blocks, very small structures. But again, yeah, we were just able to, by the way, within the last 10 minutes, able to escape, if you will, Matunuck Beach Road, thanks to a father and a son who sort of walked in the water ahead of us and pushed debris out of the way so we could get our SUV through there. We are now heading back toward Providence to get another camera because our camera was drenched by salt water. Cameras do not like salt water, and we're trying to get back there and get another camera so we can get back out and see what's out here. But again, damage Matunuck serious. There are reports, again, of at least one home knocked off its foundation. A small home, though, I would bet we hear it's a small structure. And then another home on Matunuck Beach Road that we hear again from someone down there that is being threatened by the water. And keep in mind, those homes, if you've been on that road, it's a strip of land that the homes are sitting right on the water. And that area, as you saw with us earlier, was getting pounded throughout the day, 60-mile-per-hour winds, very strong surf. Kevin Finnegan has grown up there. He says he's never seen it like that in his lifetime. Another person who I know who lives down there has lived there since 1974. Since 1974, he lives in Matunuck. He says he's never seen this much water in the pond behind his house since 1974. Kevin Finnegan was stuck with us on Matunuck Beach Road in a parking lot. We couldn't get out. And Kevin Finnegan told us that he hadn't been stuck there since 1991, which, of course, he got stuck there on the night of the so-called perfect storm. So another perfect storm, although very imperfect for the owners of those structures that are being threatened or destroyed. And we're heading back right now on Route 1. And I can tell you, the drivers of Rhode Island have definitely listened to state police. We're one of the only drivers on the road. We passed a Narragansett, a National Grid truck, and now we're beginning to see some traffic as we approach Cranston. But definitely calm out here now, although I would guess there's a lot of damage to assess in the coming hours and days. Mike and Susan.
Really important information.
Hey, Walt, I know you were talking to the owner of the Ocean Mist earlier today. Did he talk about the beach erosion and what they're trying to do? Because for years they've been trying to think about building some type of wall to prevent this from happening.
Yeah, and if you go down there, there's a wall to I would say 100 yards to the right of the Ocean Mist that then sort of jets in. And then there's another wall maybe 300 yards away from that wall, and the thought is to connect those two walls, backfill behind that wall, and now the ocean would be pounding against this stone wall. That's been the plan for years. There are councilmen on the South Kingstown Town Council who believe that nobody cares about that area. There are claims that people say that they just want to let the ocean. Some people in higher powers than us would just want to see the ocean do what the ocean's going to do, which would eventually take down the ocean mist. There's no doubt it's always in peril, and I think Kevin has told me in the past that it's this type of storm that really gets them. We've been down there for hurricanes in the summer or and other times, but he fears the nor'easter more than anything else. And this storm, he says in particular, a combination. He's seen heavy wind, he says. He's seen heavy waves, but he saw both today, and they were just non-stop. We had live pictures there earlier today. I think we were the only ones able to get live from there, and you could just see the footings of his restaurant being pounded. But you know, he says the structure's good. Although I did tweet earlier tonight that while the structure is good, he decided to leave tonight when the floor started to shake. And that was a unique feeling for him. But he did. He was stuck in that parking lot with us, and he did go. We left. He went back to his restaurant and bar, and he says the damage. He does not notice that it's sacking any more than it has. He says it still seems structurally sound, and it has, like I said, a broken window. He said a broken door, piece of plywood on the floor. But it did not get destroyed. We did hear there are unconfirmed reports. There's one other restaurant down there. About the next one over maybe. There's a home and then the restaurant. And we did hear that structure may have been damaged. So that's maybe where the confusion has come through. Kevin, by the way, is still there and said he would check on that second restaurant for us and also the house right up the street on Matunuck Beach Road. But a bad day in Matunuck, but thankfully the legendary ocean mist is still standing.